You will never fly again, Amelia. The military doctor's voice carried a mix of anger and helplessness. Amelia Cross's trembling hand clutched a faded photograph of her old squadron, where the call sign Ghost Rider was barely visible beneath the wing of an F-22. 8 years later, on her first civilian flight since the accident, she stared out the window at the clouds over the Baltic Sea, glowing in the evening light like old memories. The aircraft suddenly began to shake violently. A warning alarm screamed through the cabin. Inside her mind, amid the disorientation, a familiar voice echoed, "This is Ghost Rider, pull up." Instinct took over once more. She would reclaim the sky. And 200 people would survive because of her. Amelia Cross was 34 years old, and had spent the last 8 years trying to forget who she used to be. She had once been NATO's top test pilot, famous for her call sign Ghost Rider, earned because of her almost supernatural ability to maintain perfect control, even in the most extreme weather conditions. Other pilots said she could feel the sky's mood, anticipate turbulence before instruments detected it. She flew through storms that grounded entire squadrons. 8 years earlier, during a test of a new jet engine system, her aircraft suffered a catastrophic failure. At 40,000 feet, she saved her co-pilot by manually overriding every safety protocol to eject him before the aircraft entered an uncontrolled spin. But she stayed in the cockpit too long. She tried to save the $100 million prototype, to glide it into a controlled crash. The impact was devastating. Amelia survived, barely. Complete hearing loss in both ears. Severe damage to her vestibular system, responsible for balance and spatial orientation. Partial memory loss, especially of the final moments of the crash. The NATO Medical Board's verdict was absolute. Patient permanently unfit for flight duty. She lost more than the ability to fly. She lost her identity, her purpose, the thing that had defined her entire adult life. For 8 years, she lived in a kind of exile. She worked as an aviation safety consultant, analyzing accident reports, reviewing flight data, helping improve safety protocols. But she avoided air bases, stayed away from runways, and never looked up when the roar of a fighter jet passed overhead. Then came the experimental surgery. Neural auditory implants, cutting-edge technology that could restore partial hearing through direct nerve stimulation. Amelia was among the first patients. The surgery was successful. She could hear again, though everything sounded electronic and filtered. Music felt strange. Voices sounded metallic. But she could function in the hearing world again. She was cleared for normal civilian life. But the flying ban remained absolute. The flight from Frankfurt to Oslo was supposed to be simple. Anonymous. Just another passenger in seat 14C. Until everything went wrong. At 11:47 p.m., everything changed. The aircraft shuddered violently. Overhead compartments burst open. Oxygen masks dropped. In the cockpit, every system failed at once. GPS dead. Radio reduced to static. Autopilot unresponsive. A rare electromagnetic storm had knocked out navigation and communication. Then the captain collapsed. Cardiac arrest. 200 people. Blind flight. Total darkness. And Amelia heard something no one else could. Not with her ears, but through her implants. She heard the aircraft itself. The vibrations of the fuselage. The asymmetric stress on the wings. The engines, out of sync. Seconds from an uncontrolled spin. She stood up. "If you don't let me into that cockpit right now," she said calmly, "everyone on this plane is going to die." Something in her voice stopped all resistance. "I'm a former NATO test pilot," she said, "and I will land this aircraft." She didn't fly by instruments. She flew by feeling. By sound. By the will of the sky itself. Then she tuned an old frequency. 117.9 MHz. "This is Ghost Rider." Seconds later, F-22 pilots heard her call sign. The sky went silent, and 200 people lived.